And good afternoon. Welcome into the program as we roll along here on a Wednesday edition of the show. Appreciate you guys checking in. Jay's already over there running his mouth. He says Rob Sanders, aka Louis Armstrong's evil twin brother. I'm not sure what the hell that means and why you're throwing darts when I haven't even started the damn program yet. But welcome to the show. By the way, thanks to the folks yesterday that threw some cash at the PayPal account. You guys are awesome. If you would like to support the show that way, feel free. As we roll along, it's always helps out. So there's the address right there. Oro Sanders 1979 at gmail.com, the Cash App, and Venmo. So if you want to do that, have at it. As always, we appreciate that. Stuff we're going to go over today. I'm going to have to ask some of you, and I know this is really hard because a lot of you have those little lower back tattoos that have the SEC imprint on them that they give you in Birmingham. Okay. I know a lot of you you walk around and you think, my God, Vanderbilt is just so much better than every team in the country. I know you're the guys that think like that. All right. I've got to get you to stop out of that for a minute, just for a minute. Okay. And we're going to talk about something that I put together for that I think would make a lot of sense for college football because let's just be honest, college football is a money grab now. It's about who can make the most money, who can spend the most money. I mean, to be honest, it's not about wins and losses anymore. Wait, what? Yeah, it's really not. You think Vanderbilt, who I just mentioned, gives a shit about wins or losses? They have 19 wins since 2012. We talked about that the other day. Guess what? They're still getting the same check that Alabama gets. And Alabama does care about wins and losses, but you know what? Vanderbilt collects that money, and I don't know what they do with it. I mean, obviously, when you leave there, getting a degree from Vanderbilt, I think, is a lot more viable and looks a lot better on an application than a degree from Alabama. No offense, Alabama fans. Same way with Duke. They get the same payout that Clemson does. They don't give a shit about football. Okay. I say that in that if we're going to make this a money grab, where the idea of student athlete, and I say that and I halfway smile right now, but the idea of a student athlete that's gone out the window, where no one cares about their degree and none of that matters anymore. If we're going to have a full set of college football where everything is about money, I'm going to tell you how we're going to do that in just a moment. But we also have something else I want to get into today. We'll talk about it on the way out. But for some of you folks, this news just broke earlier. The Carolina Panthers have determined that they don't give a shit about winning as they went and got Baker Mayfield as their quarterback. When you sign a quarterback that is shorter than I am to be your franchise quarterback, you don't know what you're doing. You have absolutely no clue what you're doing. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But here is my idea for college football. And you got to step out of that window for a minute. I know it's gonna hurt some SEC fans' feelings. Not much, but a little bit. Okay. But here is what I want to do. I want to have a Champions League. And you're asking, wait a minute, what are you talking about, Rob? I want to take the 20 best college football teams and I want to put them in a conference all on their own. Okay. And with that, they're not going to get to play a bunch of shit teams. There's not going to be scheduling of Murray State. There's not going to be a scheduling of the Citadel. No disrespect to the Citadel. Last time they played South Carolina, they kind of beat that ass, but you get what I'm saying. We're not going to have any of that anymore. These 20 teams will play each other. Okay. It's not going to be, oh, I have to skip. No. You're going to play these 20 teams, and that's it. Now, that sounds pretty good on paper. Hey, we're going to have the absolute 20 best teams. Let's see how we're going to get there. So, the best way to get those 20 teams, in my opinion, to start, now let's make sure we put that out there, to start this league, okay, you're going to have to take in my opinion, the past national champions for the past 15 seasons, they automatically get a spot. So with that, that puts in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams. Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Clemson, Ohio State, Florida State, Auburn, and Florida. So those 8 teams are in the mix. I know people are going to say, well, Florida State doesn't belong there. Some people are going to say Clemson doesn't belong there. Just bear with me for a second and you'll see where I'm going. Okay. Now that leaves 12 spots for the remaining teams. Now we're trying to think of what's best for college football around the country. We don't want this to be like college baseball where only a third of the country actually watches. Okay? We don't want to do that. So we're going to have to include some teams that, to be honest, I really don't want to include, but at this start of it, that's the way that it's going to have to be just to get us moving. And then I'll tell you how it's going to change later on. Each Power Five school, with the exception of the SEC, gets one more automatic spot. Now, I know you folks are going to be upset about that, but you've got what, 6 teams? You've got 6 of the first 8. So you've got plenty. Just calm the hell down. Okay. And you're going to get more in a second. So, under that, Baylor from the Big 12, and they're going to be in via the last CFP rankings that we had. Okay. So that puts Baylor in from the Big 12, Michigan State in from the Big 10. The Pac 12 gets Utah, the ACC gets Pitt. 7 wild card teams also based off the CFP rankings, regardless of what conference that they played in. That puts in Ole Miss, Oklahoma State, Notre Dame, Cincinnati, Oregon, Iowa, Oklahoma, and BYU. I think I put Oklahoma in there twice, but that's fine. You get where I'm going with this. That gives you essentially 6 SEC teams, 3 ACC teams, 3 Big 10 teams, 2 Pac 12 teams, 3 Big 12 teams, and 3 non-power 5 teams. Now, with all of that, what I've done here is I put a nice big umbrella and we've got representation for the entire country. Okay. That's just the way that it is. You end up with teams on the West Coast. You end up with some teams on the East Coast, teams from the SEC. They've been dominant as far as being the national champion. So because of that, they get more teams in the beginning here in our first set of Champions League. Okay? Now, here's where it goes from here. Those teams play each other. They don't play anybody else. Sorry. Then this cuts out the whole scheduling bullshit because you're playing 20 teams or you have 19 other teams that have the capability of being a champion in that league. You think TV folks would not want to buy the Champions League? In a matter of seconds, it would be sold. We're giving you the cream of the crop. Now, here's the best part. Here's the best part about all this. If you don't play well in the Champions League, guess what? You get demoted down to the lower level league. The teams that did not make it will be divided into 4 regions, which puts us at about 48 Power 5 teams there, 12 schools per region, North, South, Midwest, and West. Those teams will play in a division, and they will play each other. So we won't have any bitching about that either. Okay? And then you go down from there. Now, but here's the great part about the Champions League. The 15-year window, it moves up. So the last national champion was I'm looking at my list here. Hold on. Let's say that 2006, that was Florida. I think they were there. Here's the big deal with that. If they don't play well in this Champions League, they get demoted. And how are they going to get replaced? The teams that were playing below, whoever wins those 4 divisions will play each other and they will move up. Okay? So you have the two teams that are playing for the division championships. Excuse me, the 2 teams that are playing in the final will go up, and you will also have the other 2 division winners will be basically set there, and a committee will determine if, let's say, Florida goes 2-8, they don't belong in the Champions League. Bye-bye. Someone will replace them. All right. So with that, I think that would make if we're just talking about money and we're talking about the best college football and we're giving teams an opportunity to move their way up. So you can move your way up in the actual into the Champions League. We'll have national champions on both. Billy says, what about the ACC's open relationship with the Big 12? Sancho says too much changes every year on a college football team. Look, I'll give you that, but the reality is that in the end, do you think that they care? So Jay says, how many edibles did it take to come up with this? You know, I don't do the edibles, but you know, okay. I mean, that's actually kind of funny. But look, bear with me. Just think about it. Step out of the box for a second. Lee Wilder says, what about the 1969 ACC champions? Okay, Lee, I see where you're at. D-Man 430 says, at the end, you still have Bama, Georgia, Clemson, and Ohio State, basically. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You could have LSU could be in the mix there. You could have a year where maybe Utah does well. Who knows? Who knows at this point? The reality is that we're going to have that Champions League. To get into the Champions League, you got to play well in your bottom league and then move your way up. Okay? It gets to a point where when you sit back and look at it, yeah, it's kind of batshit and it looks awkward now. But in the end, it's not really that far fetched. Papa B says all the SEC games were competitive than what Cincinnati played Bama in the CFP. The comrade, Mike Dobreski, former friend of the program. I guess he's still a friend of the program. He's just a douche. Says Clemson isn't worthy for that type of league. Well, his team that he supports didn't score a point against Clemson last year, so he should probably shut his dick sucker. Just shut it. Because it's, everything that you say about Clemson like that, you're silly. You're absolutely silly. All right, so Billy says not one team should be left out that has an all-time winning record against the team in the Champions League. Fair enough. Uncle Lou says LSU would have been winless under this model in 2020. Yes, sir. And I get that, but you've got to think of it from this perspective. This is just the first season of it. It's going to balance itself out because you're going to end up having champions that end up dropping off out of that 15-year window, and they'll move themselves up. Okay. Stephen A says, as wild as this scenario would be, it wouldn't surprise me if they came up with something even more complicated. I think the most vicious thing that I saw the other day was, we had the whole thing where West Virginia, every time they play they play a Big 12 game, it's a 1,000-mile trip, and the Big 12 pays for a good portion of their travel. So they're already screwing those kids over. But what was it? Southern Cal put out a statement. It was either Southern Cal or UCLA. And I read this and I kind of laughed just a little bit inside. And what I said was, what the statement said was, is that we took into account the effect that travel will have on our players. And we think that it will be minimal, I think was the term that they used there. And I literally said, really? It's not you sitting in a coach seat, flying across the country to go play Rutgers, you know? So with that, they don't care about that. All right. And I'm only on the football front, things may be better, but they're going to cut every cost they can with all the other athletes. And it just came back down to we're just trying to get a cash grab here and move on. That's why I came up with this, because the people that run the conferences, they don't care about these kids. In the words of the people that buy Xboxes at Christmas time that are 45 years old, when there's kids out there that want them and they can't manufacture them fast enough, fuck those kids. That's basically the way that it works out there. The Uncle Lou says, have Notre Dame athletes suffered because of travel? Well, if you look at Notre Dame, do they really play a lot of games on the West Coast every week? You're asking UCLA and Southern Cal, they're going to have to play. They're essentially playing on the East Coast every week. So, yeah. UCLA claimed this move saved their sports programs. You may be right, Stephen A. Billy Cole says Title IX, they ain't cutting nothing. No, they're not cutting scholarships, but they're not going to trust me, the football team's going to travel better than the women's track team. Okay. And I understand that that's going to piss some people off, but that's just the way that it is. The football team draws more money. They're going to have better stuff. I understand the economic side of that. I'm not saying that it's in a land of a vacuum that it's correct, but that's just the way that it is. The Uncle Lou says, no, they aren't. 4 or 5 away games in a year. That's not every week. Well, that's a good point, sir. But it's still half their schedule is on the road and they got to travel that far. So I still don't think that they thought about the whole travel portion of it. And I think that playing that many games out is a problem. All right, so we'll take some calls on this in just a second. Quickly on the Baker Mayfield thing, that's going to be a disaster for the Carolina Panthers. They're paying $10.5 million for this guy. But the other thing is that I think that the Cleveland Browns have set themselves up where if the NFL suspends Deshaun Watson, they may be calling Jacob or Halo Master or Stephen A or Uncle Lou or Billy to come play quarterback for them because they're going to be paying a lot of money to Deshaun Watson to sit on his ass up there. Or he may not be getting paid depending on the suspension, but the guy that they're supposedly trying to pay to be their quarterback probably can't play because he's got issues where he likes to be touched. Sorry. Clemson fans get upset when you talk about that, by the way. If you think Deshaun Watson doesn't have a problem with massage therapists, then you, sir, are not very bright. 66 massage therapists in 2 months. There's a problem there. He needs some counseling. I'm not saying he should be on a sex offender list because he hasn't been criminally convicted yet, but he damn sure is a weirdo. Sort of like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was never really criminally charged with anything. He never had one of those things that actually went on his record where he was convicted. But would you leave your kids with him? Nope, none of that. If you've seen the DMs that went to the Instagrams, Deshaun Watson is a weirdo. I'm a weirdo to an extent. I like to sit here and talk at 3 o'clock in the afternoon with you guys. That may make me the weirdo, but I don't have 66 massage therapists in 2 months. Just saying. Clemson fans get upset by that. And the funny part is the soccer moms that are like, Deshaun is the greatest thing ever. I don't believe any of these women. Shut up with all that nonsense. Just stop it. The guy's got a problem. But the two teams this season that are going to have issues at quarterback are the Carolina Panthers because they've got Sam Darnold, whose brain is fried, by the way. I think he's 25 years old and he is ruined from playing for the Jets and for the Panthers because Matt Rule doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And then they bring in Baker Mayfield, who is 5'8" if he's lucky and can barely see over the top of the offensive line. This guy had he had Landry up there as a wide receiver, a great tight end, and he had who was the other guy from LSU? This guy had great wide receivers up there. They drafted some offensive linemen to protect him, and he still wasn't worth a shit. Okay, I'm not buying the whole Baker Mayfield thing. And then he puts out the letter to the newspaper with his middle name, Baker, whatever the hell my middle name is, Mayfield. Thanks, Cleveland. What are you thanking them for? It's ridiculous. It's just sad. Halo Master says no, but I bet you had 66 self massages over the past 2 months. Are you judging me, sir? If I'm touching myself, it's not sexual assault. Sexually assaulting myself, I can get away with that as long as it's in the privacy of my own home. Don't judge here, sir. What's wrong with you? All right. Anyway, I'm going to fire up the phone system here, and you guys can call the program. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Cleveland is throwing out the trash. That's fine. Yeah, you're right about that. Let me put the number up here where you guys can call 803-470-2905. What do you think of my Champions League? The Champions League doesn't it's not really that far-fetched when you think about it. The best part is that every year the worst 4 teams from that Champions League can be replaced. You're gone. If you don't finish in the top 16, guess what? You're out. We're going to put 4 new teams in there. Yep. That's the way it's going to work. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Stephen A says they're going to have to trade Darnold even with all of his flaws. If we put Darnold side by side, it's hard not to take the 6'3" guy with a bigger arm. Stephen A, yes, sir. You are correct. And look, when you get to the NFL, the first thing that people are going to tell you is that, well, smaller quarterbacks have made it in the NFL. The first person they put out there is Drew Brees, or they put out Russell Wilson. Those are the first two. Okay. But generally, if you're going to be a good quarterback in the NFL, you have to be able to see over the offensive lineman's shoulders so you can make throws down the field. The idea of moving around in the pocket in the NFL, unless you're Cam Newton, whose career is over, by the way, at 31 because he got beat senseless for moving around in the pocket. If you're not a guy that can do that, you're not going to make it at 5'8", 5'9". You're just not. The two exceptions, Drew Brees, who was a freak and had one of the quickest releases in football for the longest time, and then Russell Wilson, who is a world-class athlete. I mean, he could have been an outfielder for a Major League Baseball team if he wanted to. Okay, so let's just slow down with all that nonsense. 803-470-2905. Halo Master says, I thought about it for 3 seconds. Total baloney. Champions League. What a load. Hey, I'm just saying, with everything that we're seeing out there now, my idea doesn't really come that far off. It really doesn't. All right, taking calls this afternoon at 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. By the way, new Rob and Kale show tonight. Myself and Carolina Jackpot will be spinning the hits this evening, 9:30 Eastern time for you folks that are in our time zone here. Our podcast numbers are great, by the way. We appreciate you folks downloading that. I looked at the podcast report yesterday, and we have like 8 listeners that download in Poland. I don't know if this is in reference to the former comrade Debreski that was on here, that his family was over there. I don't know, but we have 8 listeners in Poland. I think the comrade's from Poland. I don't know. I mean, I know that he likes to massage Vladimir Putin's like ankles. He's told me that before, but I think he said that he's from Poland. I can't remember, but that's probably where those 8 listeners come from that download the show every week. We appreciate them. Andre says Champions League would solve the Vandy issue. Yeah, and look, here's the thing about that. You're going to get paid more if you're in the Champions League. Remember we were talking about yesterday where in 2 seasons, Rutgers is going to get more of a payout from their league than Clemson's going to get. Vanderbilt has been the SEC welfare program for the longest amount of time, getting that Alabama check when they're spending maybe a fifth of what Alabama spends on football. So, yeah, this eliminates all of that. If you spend more, you're going to eventually move up. And if you get into the Champions League, that's where the big crazy money is. I don't see what the problem is with this. 803-470-2905. My Champions League, the teams in it: Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Clemson, Ohio State, Florida State, Auburn, and Florida. Baylor, Michigan State, Utah, Pitt, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State, Notre Dame, Cincinnati, Oregon, Iowa, Oklahoma, and BYU. There you go. If you don't cut it, you drop down. Sorry. 4 teams are going to move down every season. 4 teams from the other league are going to move up. You can make your way to the Champions League if you drink your Ovaltine and do what you're supposed to do. If you manage your team effectively, if you get a Shane Beamer type coach in there that lights the fire under some asses and has them motivated and they start playing well and they move their way up, you too can get in the Champions League. You too could be there. Andre says maybe it should be paid to get into the league. Okay with all that. You're going a little far there, Andre. Jetmex says UF doesn't deserve to be in the Champions League. I kind of agree with you on that, but they're within that 15-year window. Here's the deal. Next season, they'll be out of their 15-year championship window, so they are out. Billy says Clemson just needs to get into the Champions League, the SEC. Now that's a top shelf comment there from an SEC lower back tattoo gentleman. All right, 803-470-2905. I enjoy you folks hanging out with me during the day here. Aaron has a good point. A Champions League model would kill rivalries. South Carolina and Clemson would never play each other. Yes, sir. Well, you're not giving South Carolina a lot of credit. Look, a lot of these rivalries that we had before are gone. Let's look at it from this perspective. Texas and Texas A&M used to play each other. That doesn't happen anymore. West Virginia and Pitt used to play each other. That doesn't happen anymore. Missouri and Kansas, the border war, which was one of the most heated rivalries in the country at one point. That doesn't happen anymore. So with all of that, I mean, we're losing these rivalries anyway. We really are. So, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying there, Aaron, and losing some of those rivalries would hurt. It really would. But if we're talking about, I want to have the best team in college football, the Champions League kind of makes sense right now. Peg and Megan says all the players at Notre Dame like to be touched. Okay, I don't. Peg and Megan's just bringing out stuff from his childhood here. I imagine the smell of whiskey breath just brings up bad memories for him. I really do. Billy says, I got a new right knee last week. It hurts like hell. Well, good point, sir. I hope you get better with all that. Nobody likes to see people out there struggling. Andre says they're touched by Jesus. Jet Mech with a good point. I wonder if Megan Mullen could get away with grabbing and smooching players if those players were female. Oof. I don't know. Look, it was just I've seen the videos of that where she was mouth kissing every player that came off that bus. I there's affection and then there's a little bit over the top there. Jay wants to know, why is Dabo Sweeney's nose bigger than most mascots? I don't know. I'll be at ACC kickoff. Maybe we can get someone to ask him that question. I'm not. That's kind of a silly question, but we'll see from there. I will do the show live from up there for ACC kickoff, by the way, which is what 3 weeks from tomorrow? Oh no, 3 weeks from today, or 2 weeks from today, the 20th. What's up with that? I'm losing my mind here. Spreading foot and mouth disease. Yeah, I don't know. COVID really killed all that for her. She had to wear the mask. That probably ruined a lot of that. Remember back in the day when I was saying things like I thought Dan Mullen was a good offensive mind. I thought he was going to do well at Florida. Yeah, the bookcase of accountability, we still have it here, even in the home studio here. The bookcase of accountability still has me saying that there, where I thought that he was going to be great there at Florida and he was going to be an offensive mastermind and lead Florida to several SEC titles. Yes, stupidity is what that ended up boiling down to. I also thought Jeremy Pruitt was great too. Remember that? I thought Jeremy Pruitt was going to lead Tennessee to the SEC titles. Yeah. What does that end up being? It's just Georgia's division. It's Georgia and a bunch of fours. It's basically what it boils down to. Seriously. When you've got Kentucky fans talking about, oh, we're winning second in the East, your division is not really that good. And most Georgia fans will admit that. I will tell you this, Georgia is probably 17 points better than everyone in the division right now. Look at last season. I think they beat everybody by at least 17 points. Just saying. It's not really that far-fetched. I think Alabama's better than everybody in the West by maybe 7 or 8 points at least. West is a lot more rugged, though. Rob, tell Dabo I said hey and don't hate on him. I don't hate on Dabo Sweeney. I'm respectful with all these coaches. Respectful with all of them. Be a nice guy when I need to be. So yeah, there's that. All right, if you want to talk about Baker Mayfield too going to the Panthers and how that is a gong show waiting to happen, we'll take calls on that too at 803-470-2905. You want to talk about my Champions League, who should not be there? And if you want to say, all right, let's go back 10 seasons. After 10 seasons, you with the national championship portion of it, then that'll eliminate some. Then you could put other teams in the mix. I'm fine with that. I do think if you're going to have a Champions League, you should have champions in it. So the idea of some folks are going to be like, well, Rob, we got all these SEC teams here. Well, they won national titles. We don't argue with hardware on the program. They won the national title, so they've earned a spot. It was kind of hard for me to sit there and put in my notes Florida, and I even wrote them as the last team on the list there, as you can see that, which doesn't tells you how much it was just hurting my heart there. Tom Brady joins the program. He says, "Was Frank Beamer thought of as the same as Shane when he started off at Virginia Tech?" I think Frank Beamer was they won different up there. I mean, the whole Beamer ball thing with special teams and stuff like that, they won a lot of games like that. I mean, he had Michael Vick and those guys too. So I remember the year Clemson played Michael Vick in a bowl game, and I think it was Donovan McNabb and Michael Vick both bent Clemson over like nothing in a bowl game. It was pretty crazy. Zona Tucson 93 says the SEC needs to be disbanded. Jay says, Rob, you need a cameraman to SEC Media Days. You have extra press pass. Look, if I go to SEC Media Days, I could go. It's just that generally this year it's in Atlanta. I thought about going, but it's just normally it's in Birmingham, and I don't want to go all the way to Birmingham, to be completely honest. And if I'm going down there, I got to cover the Gamecocks for the program here. And generally, they schedule the Gamecocks with Mizzou and Arkansas. So if I go down there, and I want to cover the teams that actually matter, the Georgias, the Alabamas of the world, they're generally later in the week. It's just, it's the cost of it goes up a good bit, a good bit. But I tell you what, Jay, that might be in the mix later on. I'm still a credentialed journalist with both the ACC and the SEC and the Sun Belt, by the way, which is kind of funny. My email, I get Sunbelt emails all the time talking about what Louisiana's doing or what's going on here or there. Like, oh, that's great. Like, okay, the listeners actually care. You bring up Coastal Carolina to Jackpot, his face will turn red, and he will just literally get really mad. He doesn't like to hear about Coastal Carolina because they've been a better football program than what South Carolina has been here lately. And, Jackpot just wouldn't be very happy.
I like to bookmark and pinpoint different events in my life by a Gamecock loss. It's like a timeline of suck.
Yeah. Speaking of Jackpot, he's actually in the chat room. I start talking about Jackpot, he shows up in the chat room. Now I got to deal with his ass. Damn it. I don't, man, virtual Jackpot is a lot is a lot is a lot better to deal with at times than regular Jackpot. I mean, virtual Jackpot can get upset with me and get mad.
I fucking hate him.
Yeah, but he's all right. But yeah, Carolina Jackpot over there. By the way, tonight we're gonna put on a show for you. And then he gives me this. They're a better football program than Clemson was last year. Asswipe. I mean, Jackpot's calling me names. I didn't call Jackpot names. See, you bring up Coastal, he gets mad. The bad boys from Conway with the mullets pissed Jackpot off to no end. I wonder what would have happened. The COVID year they were supposed to play, they were supposed to play South Carolina in the COVID year. I wonder what would have happened that game. That would have been interesting. I tell you what, that's one of those games where they would have been turning. If Coastal would have gotten the upset, they would have been really turning that scoreboard off really quick down there at Billy Bryce. Dakota says, are y'all going to do reading the comment section? I've been reading comments. Jay says he's an hour and a half from Atlanta. Andre says I should come to Lafayette. I'm worried that I've pissed off enough LSU fans down there that they may want to throw stuff at me. I mean, what was it that I said to the LSU fans that pissed them off? Congratulations, you got a backup from Ohio State to be your quarterback. I mean, he couldn't win the job at Ohio State. You know, he had to come down to the SEC for playing time. Man, they got pissed about that. Jackpot says we would have curb stomped them. I admire Jackpots. You could put any team there. The freaking 1979 Steelers. How would last year's team done against them, Jackpot? We'd have curb stomped them. He's the most supportive fan for his Gamecocks ever, and I appreciate that. One good thing about Jackpot too, since I'm talking about him here, this is an actual true statement here. It's all South Carolina with him. He doesn't have this whole thing where he supports South Carolina football and then he'll go and he'll support, I don't know, Duke basketball or North Carolina basketball, and then insert your, I don't know, Texas A&M baseball, whatever. It's all Gamecocks all the time with him over there. I can appreciate that. Chip says it's damn crazy how Coastal's the number 2 football team in the state. Look, if we're being completely honest and we're not just throwing complete shade there, I think that Coastal is number 3. All right. But I think in the down years, the last 2 years of the Will Muschamp era, Coastal might have given South Carolina a game. I don't think they would now. Spencer Rattler would have picked on that damn secondary to the end of time. So there's that. Mayhem Matthew says Jackpot's the most delusional Carolina fan ever, and that's why you subscribe. So you like watching people that are delusional? Is that what you're saying? Huh. Okay. Tom says, did I talk about the ACC floundering and partnering with the Pac-12? Look, I'm wearing my ACC network hat because this is going to be a collector's item because the ACC is going to be no more. I think in the next 5 years, we're not going to have an ACC. We're not. And I'm going to be telling my grandkids whenever they get here, back when I was young, we used to go to the ACC kickoff. They're going to be like, what's the ACC? And I'm going to tell them, well, it used to be a basketball conference that sometimes had some football teams that were pretty good. But in the end, they sat on their laurels and ended up getting just swallowed up by the Champions League or whatever else that comes with it. That's what's going to happen. The ACC, I think, is going to be no more. I kind of feel bad going up to media days and eating the breakfast and lunch and the dinner they're going to give us, talking to all the coaches and stuff, knowing that 5 years from now, it's probably not going to be happening anymore. So, yeah. Billy says Rattler hasn't taken a snap yet in the SEC. Are we really going to do this, Billy? Are we going to do this? You think that Spencer Rattler is not going to be effective for South Carolina? Look, where's the bookcase of accountability? Normally it's to my right, but actually it's to my left. Okay. Remember, in the old studio it would be to my right, and I would tell you, all right, I'm putting this up over there. It's right next to the trash can with Peg and Megan's picture on it, because that's where all of his takes go, because they are hot dog water. But this one's to the left. And I'm going to put my stuff on here. And this is actually where my hairless guinea pigs are. Yes, we've talked about the hairless guinea pigs before on the show. Putting stuff up there. The first thing in the new studio I'm going to put up there is that if Spencer Rattler doesn't miss games due to injury or whatever, if he plays the full 12-game stretch for South Carolina, he'll finish in the top 3 in the division as far as passing goes. Anybody want to bet against me on that? I mean, you've got what? Hendon Hooker, Stetson Bennett, Will Levis. One of those 3 won't. Spencer Rattler will. Just saying. Anybody want to take my bet on that? Feel free. He's going to finish in the top 3 in the SEC East in passing yards. If he doesn't get injured, let's make sure we put that there. If he doesn't get injured, it's a big, big deal. All right, 803-470-2905, 803-470-2905. Billy says, and Rob talks about SEC lower back tattoos. Look, nobody told you to go and get that. You chose to do that. Billy, you're old enough. You remember when Alabama actually lost to Tennessee. There's a generation of Tennessee fans that have never seen that. You're at the point of talking to your grandkids, telling them, at once I didn't have a fake knee, and I remember when Tennessee beat Alabama. You can actually say that and be truthful. There's a whole generation of Tennessee fans that can't. So you're a treasure, Billy. You really are. I hope your knee gets better. If he hasn't quit and moved on. Tom says Clayton White has to be a top 3 SEC defensive coordinator. I think that with what he had last season, with everyone that decided to leave, and that Gamecock defense was the way that they were, I think that the biggest loss the South Carolina Gamecocks is going to have this season is the fact that at the end of the year, he's going to go somewhere else. Coach White will eventually be somewhere else. We talk all this shit about, or I didn't, the comrade did, about Will Muschamp's a mastermind of defense. Yeah, okay. The mastermind of defense is Clayton White. I'd go to battle with him any day over Will Muschamp, especially with what he put together last season. You Gamecock fans should be happy as fuck right now. Seriously. With the talent stuff you got coming back, you may go 7-5, but you're going to be a hell of a lot better than the 7-6 team you were last year. You really are. Gamecock fans should be happy as hell right now. I'm not saying that you're going to win the world here, but everything on paper shows that you guys should be all right. Beamer's going to be a little bit smarter this year. He's not going to have Jordan Burch out there throwing passes. That's not happening. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go to the phones. Welcome into the program. Good afternoon.
You brought this on.
I did. Now listen, don't be hurting yourself, sir. I was respectful of you, sir. I said that you were a fine Tennessee fan. Did I say that? I don't remember. But
right.
You are a fine Tennessee
fan.
But
I just want to go back to something.
Sure.
You're the one that's always telling us all these 5 stars and 4 stars don't mean nothing till they get on the field.
What happened?
I hope Spencer Rattler does great. I hope he does great. I really do.
What happened?
And Jack Pot knows that,
sir.
But they bought a bag of goods, really, because they don't know if this kid gets set down out of a game one week or whatever, he's going to pout and move on. Yes, he's a talent, but he hasn't taken a snap in the SEC. And you're the one that says,
right.
Well, all these kids coming up 5 stars and stuff that don't mean nothing. So what's different with Spencer Rattler?
Let me ask you something. Can I ask you something really quick here?
Sure.
In a football game, if a quarterback, hold on, let me make sure I've got my right stuff here. If a quarterback throws for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns on 23 attempts, is that pretty good?
Sure it is, Rob.
Okay, well, that's what he did the last time he played an SEC team when he beat the holy piss out of Florida. So to say that he can't match up with SEC athletes when he played Florida. It's the last SEC team he played. Yeah. He went out there and beat
Carolina
the holy piss
beat Florida, Rob. Tennessee didn't know.
This was 2 years ago.
I hear you. But y'all are crowning this kid. I hope he does good.
I'm not.
He hasn't done anything yet.
Do you think? Hold on. Do you think
he hasn't done anything?
Do you think it's far-fetched to think that he'll finish in the top 3 in the SEC East Division as far as passing goes?
If he doesn't get hurt, he'll be top 4, top 5. I don't know about top 3. It's a pretty good competition.
No, there's not. You're gonna have Stetson Bennett, who's got all those guys to throw to. That's one guy. And then you're going to have Hendon Hooker in the gimmick offense at Tennessee. That's number 2. Who's going to be the third guy? Are you going to tell me Will Levis? You're going to tell me whoever Vandy rolls out
I don't Carolina Jack. I hope in Carolina Jack knows this. I hope he does good. I'm rooting for him. The SEC we need something like this. We need this.
Yeah,
but
you do.
Just to come out and just automatically, what you don't know is, has the offensive line coach fixed the offensive line, and is this kid going to be running for his life every game?
That's why I said if he doesn't get injured. Injury is the big key.
Well,
here.
It doesn't even mean injured. I tell you what, on the bookshelf accountability, let's count how many sacks he gets sacked every game.
Well, that might be
Every
something to
game.
talk about. I mean, Jackpot says that the offensive line coach is a fat Arn Anderson. I can kind of buy that. I mean, I can kind of buy that. And they need to figure out the offensive line, but the guy has legit talent. He played in a
Carolina
Power
Jackpot
5
said, "I'm
conference.
scared."
Scared of what? I mean, I
That's
look,
what
the
I'm trying to
Tennessee
figure out.
look, the Tennessee defense, and if you're honest, if you're completely honest, you've got to
They need
admit you've
help.
got questions on defense. You really do.
Hmm?
So, I mean, that secondary needs some work. And I know you got some guys that are supposedly coming in, but as far
Yeah, they
as
got
he's
Ohio
played,
State safety coming in and stuff.
right,
So we'll see.
we'll see on that. You're
And
correct.
that's what I'm saying. We'll see. We'll see about Rattler. But just to come on the show and say, "Well, he's going to finish in the top 3,"
He's going to finish in the
hell,
top 3. He's going to finish in the top 3.
shit.
There's only 2 that I think
There
will
ain't
finish ahead
no
of him.
way.
There's only 2 that I think will finish ahead of him, and that's Stetson Bennett, maybe, and of course, Hendon Hooker in the gimmick offense down there. Which, I mean, I could probably throw for 500 yards.
If he was behind Georgia's line or Alabama's line, hell, he'd be the top quarterback probably.
Okay.
That's my point. And
Sure.
you keep saying, "Well, if he gets hurt." Well, so now he gets hurt. And now he's on the bench and stuff. And well, he didn't have the stats because like this. Hendon Hooker didn't play the first 3 games last year. I don't think it was. But anyway,
what does that? Hold on. What does that say about your coaching staff? Hold on, sir. What does that say about your coaching staff that Hendon Hooker was number 3 on the depth chart in the first game of the season? What does that say about that? They thought Joe Milton was better.
It.
No, they thought he was better. So you come casting rocks
At the
here.
time,
I mean, there's
they
holes
did.
in Tennessee there too. But you yourself have said Hendon Hooker's going to be great, right? And he had a great season last year. He may end up being
It was a
all
surprise.
SEC team, second team quarterback this year. And you got to respect what they did picking him off the woodpile there at Virginia Tech. But he was the 3rd string quarterback last season, right?
So what did South Carolina do with Spencer Rattler? Did they pick him up off the wood shelf spot?
You're telling me that no one wanted Spencer Rattler?
Let me say this, and then I'm going to get off here.
Just respectfully,
Spencer Rattler kid has a mental problem, and we don't know if he's going to, week to week, if he gets
Sir, Deshaun Watson has a mental
criticized
problem.
if he's going to be there.
$200 million.
If he's going to be there.
We're talking about what he does in between the lines.
You stay in the Spencer Rattler theme. Count how many times he gets sacked. How many times he gets hurt. Then at the end of the year, well, we shoulda, woulda, coulda. We shoulda, woulda, coulda. You can hear it coming.
They're not my team.
Well, if we had an O-line, if we did this.
It comes down to the O-line. Do you think Tennessee had a great O-line last year? Be honest. Did you have a great offensive line last year?
Fair.
Okay. You had a fair offensive line, and you had a 3rd string quarterback from Virginia Tech that came in and threw all over everybody. So the idea that you can't play without an offensive line may be just a little bit out there. Spencer Rattler has an NFL-type quick release, not evaluated by evaluated by several other
and you
folks.
know there's been is the SEC league a little bit quicker than Oklahoma and the Big 12? You think
it's a Power 5 league, sir. I mean, yeah, they're going to be quicker there, but he's playing an SEC East schedule. You think he's not going to go out there and light up Vanderbilt and freaking Mizzou and Tennessee with the secondary they have? There's 3 games right there. He's going to throw the ball all over the damn field.
Tennessee up.
he throws for 250.
He ain't lighting Tennessee up.
You want to
see, this kid ain't taking a damn snap, and you're telling him who he's going to light up. And then you tell us when a team gets in the top 3 on college recruiting, well, that don't mean nothing because they haven't played yet or they haven't did this yet.
Sir,
Spencer Rattler ain't played yet in the SEC.
You're not listening, sir. They haven't played on the college level is what I said. He's played a full season at a Power 5 level. It's not like he's some high school kid. He's played a full season at a college level. Big difference there. Spencer Rattler. He's played a full season in the Big 12.
Did he?
Yes. Holy crap, of course he did. Played a full season in the Big 12.
So why did he leave Oklahoma?
Well, because his coach is a punk, by the way. who wants to leave and go out to be a Hollywood guy. That's part of the reason that he left. And yeah, he had issues where he was a pouty face on the sidelines, but that happens.
And he got his ass benched for it.
Yeah, he got his ass benched by the other quarterback came in and took the spot because he didn't pound.
Well,
you think he hasn't gotten over that?
I'm glad he's at South
change?
Carolina now. Get in where you fit in because he's a big fish now out there, and I hope he does good. I really do.
He's got at least 4 games on that schedule that he's going to be able to go out and pick apart because the defense just isn't going to be there. Mizzou, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and who else? Who else is on the South Carolina schedule? I got to look at the rest of the schedule. But I guarantee you those 3 SEC games, I think he's going to be great.
This kid's going to be running for his life.
He'll be in the top 3.
He's going to be running for his life. They asked Jake Cutler one time why he was such a good passer on the run. He said, I played at Vanderbilt.
Jake Cutler had mental issues too. So there's that. There's a reason why he went to Vanderbilt.
I got to go.
Bye-bye. Stay well, sir.
Later. Bye, Rob.
All right. 803-470-2905. 803-470-2905. If you would like to call the program. Wait a minute. I've got a special call here. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. My friend and yours, Mr. Carolina Jackpot.
This is a giant cock.
What's up, buddy?
Is he okay?
I don't know. I mean, he's upset, and Jackpot, you know that I try to be as honest as I can about South Carolina, but if you lose every game, I'm fine with all that being the Clemson fan, but to say that Spencer Rattler is not talented is like fucking out there. What a mess.
Okay, well, I mean, first of all, what's with all the name calling and mental problems? I mean, is it mental problems when somebody has a temper and gets pissed off? That's a little different. Mental problems to me is like being bipolar or schizophrenic, or I don't know. I mean, I think that we could say immature, maybe yes. Mental problems, I'm not so sure about. And second of all, what's he getting so damn mad about? Could it be that might just be a little bit worried about what this guy was going to be able to do next year? I think so. So. And also, too, and on top of that, tell me, well, woulda, coulda, shoulda, what he do it? Have the excuses ready. Who the hell knew who the damn Hendon Ho was last year in September? I mean, I didn't even remember that the damn guy even existed. He comes over from Virginia Tech, and they pull him off the damn trash heap, dust him off, put him in that damn Josh Heupel UCF, score 50 points a minute, play no defense, gimmick offense, and he lights it up. Well, you could put any quarterback in America that has any kind of arm strength at all in, they would be successful. Oh,
I mean,
well,
I said I could throw for 500 yards in that offense. I could do it right now. I'm 43 years old. I could do it. Put me out there. I'll throw for 500 yards. Yeah.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. We're going to be talking about. Yeah.
Jackpot, am I far-fetched to think? I'm sorry. Am I far-fetched to think he's going to finish in the top 3 in the division in passing? Is that really that much of a reach?
No. Because the rest of the quarterbacks in that division are, they're decent. Okay. You got a couple of decent ones over there. Will Levis, I can see. Hendon Ho, I can see because of the offense he plays in. Who else? Don't even talk about Georgia to me, and then don't even talk Florida either. I'm not sold on them doing anything. So, he needs to just chill out. And if we do well, we do well. If we don't, we don't. But I don't think that anybody is sitting here right now saying this guy's going to go out and throw for 4,000 damn yards this year. I ain't been saying it. So stop putting words in people's mouths.
Top
Sit
three
back,
in the
let the
division.
games be played.
Top 3 in the division. I stand by that. I think that'll
Me
happen.
too. All right. I'm going to let you go. I know it's almost
But-
time for the show to be over.
Yeah, we'll be back at it tonight, buddy. We'll see you tonight. There you go. Jackpot joining the program because Billy kind of set him on fire there for a second. All right. Billy says Rattler will be running for his life, and he did not say he was not a talented quarterback. He said he hasn't played in the SEC. I'm telling you, he's going to be fine. As far as talent goes, you can make an argument he's the most talented quarterback on paper in the division. Who are you going to throw at him to say that is better? Slow down with Stetson Bennett. The guy is Where's Waldo. Let's just be honest. He won a national title, but if you could have Stetson Bennett or Spencer Rattler, which way would you want to go? So there's that. All right. So, man, now my wife is over here on the couch checking in on the program. You know he's a weirdo. Yeah, very good. Anyway, support the show, ladies and gentlemen. There's the links right there if you want to do that. And Jackpot and I will be back at it tonight. And I got to figure out what we're going to talk about. We'll have something good for you tonight, I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure. Jay says Stetson's been at UGA since 2016. I hope Jay's not joking. He might be right. He's been there forever. I mean, is he? And I'm not joking. Is he? I think he's 24, right? I'm serious. He's an older quarterback. Final call of the day. Welcome into the program. Good afternoon.
Rob, you quit making guys get in feelings, man. These
What?
Tennessee fans, I can't do that crap. So you said we'll finish in the top 3 in the SEC East, right?
Right.
I don't see why that's a stretch, seeing how the SEC East is. It's not like you're saying in the entire SEC. It's
Nope,
almost like
just in the
people
East.
can't listen. Huh?
No, it's just in the division, and I think deep down, and and here's the deal: Billy's in a lot of pain right now. He said he was on his medicine. Maybe that's what's bothering him. Maybe. All right, but I think deep down, if we really could hold him down and give him an old injection of the truth serum, that he would tell you, man, I wish I had that talented of a guy at quarterback at Tennessee. And by the way, here's the other thing too. Spencer Rattler's got 1 year at South Carolina, unless, of course, he gets injured. He's going to the NFL. That's the end goal for this kid.
Yep.
He doesn't give a shit about college. He's going to play his dick off this season. That's what he's going to do. And he's going to be playing like his hair is on fire. Yes, sir, and no, sir, and everybody putting up with the offensive line coach that may be a dickhead. He's going to be doing all that. Okay. Because he wants to have a good impression for the NFL. He wants to have that slate clean where he can say, you know what? I had all those issues before, but I've grown as a man. Shane Beamer made me a better quarterback. Yes, I was out there in Oklahoma and I was lost, ladies and gentlemen. I went to the SEC and I played for Shane Beamer, and now I am better. And you know what? I finished as one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC this year. I didn't really have a lot of folks to throw the ball to, but you know what? I made some guys some stars.
Wouldn't that
That's
be
what he's gonna
funny
do.
if he goes out there, the better quarterback in South Carolina was under the QB guru, Lincoln Riley?
Yeah,
Crazy
you're right.
would that be?
Oh,
Say
anyway,
about Lincoln Riley.
yeah,
I think
you're right.
he's better than South Carolina might pass him. Vision.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think he's just that good. So now, once again, by the way, we talk about the case of accountability on this show. You can come back to me in November. I'll still be doing a show of some sort. Okay, whether it's this show during the middle of the day or the Rob and Kale show at night, and you can come back and call and say, "Look at this, Rob. Spencer Rattler ended up being a piece of shit quarterback, and you were saying that he was going to be great at the beginning of the season." And look what he did. I stand by what I said. And you know what I'll say? All right, you got me. You got me. You were right, Billy. You were absolutely right. I have no problem coming back and admitting when I'm wrong on something, for God's sake. All right. Anyway, Andre, you got anything else?
About LSU.
Huh?
LSU beating Tennessee this year?
I don't know. Like LSU is interesting to me because I don't know exactly how well they're going to be. I know that one thing I can say about LSU is that they're consistently a team that's going to win 8, 9, 10 games and then have a season where they end up doing really, really well and going out and blowing some people out. I mean, that's what they normally do. They had a generational type quarterback in Joe Burrow that came in and they won a national championship with him. And so LSU's got talent. I mean, we know that. Can Brian Kelly coach on the SEC level? We'll see. He's got that fake Southern accent down, though. He's got that. Did you LSU fans take him out for crawfishing, or did you feed him some alligator or something? Because he never ate that shit before. That fool's from New York. He's never ate alligator.
Different animals than freaking the rest of Louisiana.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly will do a test of this. Have a clown show character like Les Miles and Orgeron on the sideline. Somebody that bungles management.
Respect. Hold on now. We don't argue with hardware on the show. Les Miles is a creep, but he has a national title. Ed Orgeron is also a creep, and he has a national title. Are you pissing on those national championship teams, sir?
Davis players that won with Joe Burrow. Look, I'm a realist, man. You through and through. I'm sorry, dude. That's my point with Davis players. And with that group of players. And
sure.
You had Joe Burrow with that talent around him. Of course, you're going to win.
Yeah, but who recruited that talent? Hold on, sir. Who recruited that talent? We got to give Orgeron credit for that. Okay, he got the talent there. Yeah. Give him credit for winning. You can call him an asshole for the shit he did, but he won. Brother, he won a national title. Brian Kelly hasn't done that. Hadn't done it.
Talent either.
Oh,
Brian Kelly's not going to threaten to kill somebody and put on a radio show.
Well, and that's fine, but Brian Kelly can't go home and look at the national title that he won either. He can just sit around with his fake accent and try to win a national title.
Chance at the last 3 coaches that coach at LSU national championship, including 2 clown shows.
Oh man!
He's the first real coach that we've had since Saban. So,
responding to Peg and Megan, he said, "Rob, did you say who recruited that talent?" Yes, and he actually took that talent and won with them, which is what up until last season Kirby Smart didn't do. Okay, there's that too. All right. Yeah, Joe Burrow's great. He's great. I mean, he couldn't get off the bench at Ohio State, but he's great. He's great. He couldn't get off the bench at Ohio State, though. That happened.
One more thing.
Yeah.
Have you seen the reports about that quarterback that's going to Miami and how much he's going to be making?
Yeah, there's
like NFL quarterback.
Yeah, but I don't know how real that is. Some of it may be maybe far-fetched. I don't know. I'm not looking at the guy's checkbook. I think that we're giving 18-year-olds millions and millions of dollars to play quarterback, and they may not be worth a shit. Quinn Ewers is at Texas, and he's never taken a college snap at Ohio State. So there's that. And he transferred out and still got 6 figures from Ohio State. So there you go.
I think NIL will be the death of college football.
Yeah.
Or conference realignment will, unless you get control.
Obviously, I mean, I know that you've been following the show, but you missed where, I think even Peg and Megan said that NIL is going to be the death of college football, and he's right. The idea of just going to college and getting your, and I don't have an issue with the $500 handshake. You go out and you throw for 3 touchdowns, some booster comes up to you and gives you a $500 handshake. I don't have issues with that, but $8 million is what some of these kids have been making. Just get out of here with that nonsense. Get your degree, by the way, because you're one knee ligament away from being nothing. Remember this: Todd Gurley was one of the best running backs that I ever covered. Okay, he was at Georgia, was an absolute lightning rod, great running back. Went to the NFL and was one of the best running backs in the NFL. He's 27 years old and he can't get a job on an NFL team now. I hope that he's going back to Georgia to get his degree. I don't know if he graduated or not. The reality is that his professional career is essentially over at 27. Someone needs to tell these young folks that, because that's the most important thing.
It's about the money now.
It should
But
be
I
about
hate
how
Nick
you're going
Saban
to take
with the
care of
passion.
yourself later on.
I don't care about that. It's all about it now. It's all about buying flashy cars and big houses.
Sure.
Saban made a good point, and I hate him. I hate Nick Saban. Saban's partially the reason why the NIL is there. About,
Yeah.
you know, A&M bought all their teams. Of course they did. But let's be completely real.
Right.
Alabama been doing that under the table. He's just mad. He don't have the advantage no more.
Yeah.
Texas and A&M money. I'll end with.
Sure. All right. Well, anyway, hey, I appreciate you supporting the show yesterday. Sending me some cash on the PayPal. Thank you, and also thanks to Jay, who apparently likes the show, and he supported the show as well. You can do that if you want. There's the link there. And Andre, appreciate you calling the program. But you guys are awesome. I appreciate all of you. We'll be back at it tonight with Carolina Jackpot, doing our thing this evening here. Hopefully, Billy, don't ease up on those meds, brother, so you can actually stay awake for the show. 9:30 tonight. So there's that. Jay with a good point. Gurley suspended and probably lost his Heisman over signatures out of a car. Yeah, I'm with you on that. But Todd Gurley was a hell of a running back. I mean, we can run our mouths all we want, but the guy was a heck of a player. All right, appreciate y'all, man. Thank you so much. We'll see you later on.